This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. Police say recent murders are connected. Commissioner of Police Fernandez says police will increase their presence. The commissioner also says there's been excellent progress in that CID probe. And the latest on that water park or water feature for the Nassau Cruise Port. That's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Duquesa Dean will be joining us. Also this morning, in light of that IT meltdown last week that's heading into this week, lessons to be learned from local companies. What can you do to prevent a catastrophe if it should happen again? That's all ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernandez says that the murder of a man on Hannah Road last Tuesday and the shooting deaths of two men in the nearby Pine Barren Road 2 nights later are believed to be connected. Regarding the Tuesday incident, police say O'Neill Miller, a 51-year-old, was shot dead by two men who accosted him outside his Hannah Road home. 2 nights later, 48-year-old Jamie Tynes and Adrian Edgecombe were shot by 3 gunmen after they arrived at a residence on Penford Close off Pine Barren Road. The victims tried to escape their shooters but collapsed and died outside a nearby home. Now, the commissioner saying yesterday that the motive for the killings remains unclear, but that based on their investigation so far, they can safely say that the two matters are connected. Police also reported that a woman believed to be in her late 30s was found stabbed to death near the intersection of Carmichael Road and Palm Beach Drive yesterday morning. Police say that this was a domestic incident. The victim's suspected boyfriend was in police custody as of yesterday. Police also reported that a man shot and killed at Yellow Jasmine Close off Pioneers Way in Grand Bahama around 10 p.m. Sunday by 2 men who emerged from behind his house. As he got out of the car, police identified the man who was shot shortly after 1 a.m. on Friday as well, on Crooked Island Street in New Providence as Chavez Miller. The man who was shot about 3.5 hours later while driving on Sumner Street in New Providence, identified as Tamac Saunders. Police say he drove away from the scene and crashed into a pole on Soldier Road and died. The commissioner also saying that some of the victims were on bail, but he did not identify which ones were. Commissioner Fernandez also saying that investigators are making, quote, excellent progress in their investigation into corruption allegations at the Criminal Investigations Department. He says that the investigators are making the progress and they are in communication with UK partners who've asked for documents. Fernando could not put a timeline on the investigation because he said there are a number of lines of inquiry that have to be probed. The investigation was sparked about 3 weeks ago after controversial recordings on social media were leaked on social media. Those recordings are conversations between a purported wanted suspect and two other men. In the conversations, the wanted suspect speaks separately with the men about turning himself in and how much it would cost for him to be released after speaking with the police. Chief Superintendent Michael Johnson, former CID head, has been placed on leave with full pay and benefits after the audio went viral. As Attorney General Ryan Pinder opened debate in the Senate on bills to legalize cannabis for medical and religious use, he says it's important that the government put an end to the criminalization of Rastafarianism. Pinder saying yesterday, quote, "We do not think it's right to criminalize an entire religion because of the use of their sacrament in their religious activities. We don't believe that, and that is why we have taken the approach that we've taken." Pinder says the bills will help the Bahamas get out in front of an emerging view across the Caribbean that Rastafarians have a constitutional right to use cannabis. A 23-year-old man accused of a double shooting that left one man dead and another injured has been denied bail. Prosecutors allege that Tracy Russell shot and killed Travis Williams and attempted to kill Markinson Mitchell on July 14th. Russell allegedly shot the man after he got into an argument outside a bar on Nassau Street. Russell faced charges of murder, attempted murder, and possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life yesterday when he appeared before Chief Magistrate Roberto Reckley. He was not required to enter a plea and did not have a lawyer. Russell's matter was adjourned to November 21st for the presentation of a voluntary bill of indictment. Last week, former policeman Bien Desir was charged with causing dangerous harm to Russell. Prosecutors allege that Desir shot Russell in the leg and upper body. Russell was on crutches and his leg was in a cast when he appeared in court yesterday. Prosecutors say Desir was not authorized to have a gun as he had been suspended from duty. He was subsequently dismissed from the force after the alleged shooting. Meanwhile, on Friday, a judge set a trial date for a man accused of a murder last year. Solomon Williams, who was on remand, pleaded not guilty to the October 12, 2023 shooting death of Leslie Knowles. He was killed while working at a car wash in Chippingham. Senior Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson scheduled Knowles' trial for May 4th to 8th, 2026. And a 40-year-old man charged with having sexual relations with a 12-year-old boy. Terry Sears faced 4 counts of unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor of the same sex when he made his initial court appearance before Chief Magistrate Roberto Reckley. Prosecutors allege that the crimes took place between April 1st, 2024 and June 29th. Sears didn't have to enter pleas to the charges and was denied bail as the magistrate lacks jurisdiction to consider bail for the charge. However, Sears was advised of his right to seek bail in the Supreme Court. That matter adjourned to November 21st for the presentation of a voluntary bill of indictment. And Prime Minister Philip Davis underwent a successful surgery to correct sciatica. According to a statement issued by the Ministry of Health, and quoting Dr. Michael Darville, Health Minister, the procedure was a very straightforward one and a positive recovery period is anticipated. Overseas, Palestinian factions Hamas and Fatah signing a declaration in Beijing on ending a years-long rift, taking a step toward resolving a deep divide which has lingered for years despite repeated attempts to unify the sides. The two heavyweights of Palestinian politics signing the Beijing Declaration on ending division and strengthening Palestinian unity, according to Chinese state broadcaster CCTV. They've pledged to form a unity government for the Palestinian territories. But previous such declarations have failed, including a similar deal in 2011, casting doubt over whether the China-sponsored negotiations might actually lead to resolution. The declaration comes at a sensitive time as the war in Gaza rages on into its 10th month, and as Israel and Hamas are weighing an internationally backed ceasefire proposal that would wind down the war and free dozens of Israeli hostages held by Hamas. The question of Palestinian political unity could complicate planning for a post-war leadership structure for Gaza, one of the thornier issues in the ongoing peace talks. Hamas won parliamentary elections in Gaza in 2006 and then overran the territory in a violent takeover the following year. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to Washington this week is looming as a fraught one between the two allies, coming at a moment of extreme political flux in the United States and wariness among American leaders about Netanyahu's history of interjecting himself into U.S. domestic politics. The main purpose of Netanyahu's visit is a speech to a joint meeting of Congress, but at stake in meetings with administration officials are hopes for progress in U.S.-led efforts to mediate an end to that war, the Israel-Hamas war. The visit comes as the toll of Palestinians killed in Israeli attacks in Gaza nears 40,000. It's also in a week when new deaths were reported among the surviving hostages, who include Israelis, Americans, and other nationalities held by Hamas and other militants since the start of the war. And at least 157 people killed in mudslides in a remote part of Ethiopia that has been hit with heavy rainfall, many of them as they tried to rescue survivors of an earlier mudslide. Young children and pregnant women were among the victims of the mudslides in the Kencho Sacha Gozdi district of southern Ethiopia. The death toll rose from 55 late Monday to 157 today as search operations continued in the area. Most of the victims were buried in a mudslide Monday morning as rescue workers searched the steep terrain for survivors of another mudslide the previous day. At least 5 people have been pulled alive from the mud. And the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations announcing $60 million in additional humanitarian assistance to Haiti during a trip Monday to the troubled Caribbean country. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield also said the U.S. Defense Department would provide a substantial increase in mine-resistant vehicles to a UN-backed multinational security mission led by Kenya to help Haiti's national police combat widespread gang violence. The announcement coming nearly a week after a second Kenyan contingent of 200 police officers arrived in Haiti, following the first contingent of 200 officers last month. Thomas Greenfield says that the U.S. aid assistance, which now totals more than $165 million this fiscal year, would fill gaps in nutrition, food security, and shelter, improve water and sanitation services, and provide Haitians with cash to buy basic goods. In sports, Shafano Buddy Hield couldn't remember the last time he wasn't the best shooter on his basketball team, but he readily cedes that standing next to Stephen Curry, now his Golden State Warriors teammate, puts that into question. Buddy speaking yesterday to reporters, speaking this week, actually, the past few days, to reporters during his introduction, saying, Steph, he's the one I've been watching all my life. The 31-year-old Hield is among the NBA's best shooters, trailing only Curry for most three-pointers made in the past 5 seasons. He signed a 4-year, $37.8 million contract that includes a player option, with only the first 2 seasons fully guaranteed. He signed as an unrestricted free agent, part of a 6-team sign-and-trade transaction. More from the NBA. Turner Sports intends to continue its long-time relationship with the NBA. Warner Brothers Discovery informed the league Monday that it will match the $1.8 billion per year offer by Amazon Prime Video. Turner has had an NBA package since 1984, and games have been on TNT since the network launched in 1988. Warner Brothers Discovery in a statement saying, quote, "We have reviewed the offers and matched one of them. This will allow fans to keep enjoying our unparalleled coverage, including the best live game productions in the industry and our iconic studio shows and talent, while building on our proven 40-year commitment for many more years. Our matching paperwork was submitted to the league today. We look forward to the NBA executing our new contract." Well, the NBA's Board of Governors approved the league's 11-year media rights deal with Disney, NBC, and Amazon Prime Video at its meeting in Las Vegas last Tuesday. Warner Brothers Discovery received all three contracts Wednesday, which started the 5-day clock for whether it wanted to match the deal. The new deals, collectively worth $76 billion, will begin with the 2025-2026 season and include a game being aired or streamed nationally every night during the second half of the season. The Prime Video offer has games on Thursday night after it's done carrying NFL games. Its other nights are Friday and Saturday. Amazon Prime Video did not comment on Warner Brothers Discovery's intention to match. An NBA spokesperson says the league is reviewing the matching offer. If the NBA accepts the matching offer, TNT would likely carry games on Thursday, with the other nights being streamed on Max. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Your first look at weather brought to you by Easy Car Sales. We've got a high-pressure ridge extending across the islands that's going to generate moderate breezes, while streaming moisture will support pockets of isolated shower activity. We've got another heat advisory in effect for the country, and UV indices are expected to be in the high to extreme range. Everyone's being advised to remain hydrated, limit time outdoors, take frequent breaks if you have to be outdoors. There's also a possibility for funnel cloud or waterspout activity in the extreme northwest Bahamas. Boaters and beachgoers should exercise caution in the central and southeastern islands, as there's a risk of rip currents. And with the Saharan dust, everybody with respiratory issues needs to take special precautions. For today, for all areas, partly sunny, hot, and a bit breezy, with a few isolated showers and thunderstorms, mainly over the northwestern islands, becoming fair and warm tonight with a chance of a few pockets of passing showers or thunderstorms. A bit hazy, as some Saharan dust will linger before moving away tonight. Small craft advisory in effect due to swells. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots over the extreme northwest Bahamas, 15 to 20 knots with higher gusts elsewhere. Seas 2 to 4 feet in the extreme northwestern islands, but 4 to 6 feet elsewhere. Seas up to 7 feet along Atlantic exposures in easterly swells. Temperatures today, we're looking at highs getting up to around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index will make it feel like it's 105 Fahrenheit, 41 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. It's currently about 82 degrees, partly cloudy skies in Nassau. 78 in Freeport. That's your first look at weather this morning. Weather brought to you by Easy Car Sales. We are Generation E, and we love the EV life. Join the evolution. Visit IamGenerationE.com. You are listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Carrie's Fabrics and Uniform Store wants to get you ready for back to school. They have ready-made uniforms and uniform fabrics for almost every school in the Bahamas. At Carrie's, find skirts, blouses, shirts, jumpers, boy shorts and long pants, neckties, socks, and more. You can even have your uniform skirts custom made. Check out our selection of embroidered cotton shirts. That's Carrie's Fabrics and Uniform Store on Mackey Street. Phone 393-0758 or 817-0758.
Looking to elevate your gadget game or a tech trouble simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Caves Village. Or call 396-1100.
Do you have uncontrollable debt? Are you ready to make that move to Fidelity for a stress-free future? These loans have a built-in savings plan that pays you unbeatable interest. Ask about our debt consolidation loans today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up. Wake up, it's
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Duquesa Dean. Duquesa, good morning.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Bahamas.
Great to have you with us.
It's a great day to be alive and to be here.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right, so we got a lot to talk about this morning, a lot happening in the news, but also in the show, in business, we're going to be talking about that that tech meltdown on Friday that spilled into the weekend, and apparently some are still having issues today.
Yeah.
Delta, majorly impacted by this. Lots of flights canceled and lots of delays for people. So the effects are still being felt. And Bahamian companies got caught up in this as well.
They did, a lot of them.
So we're talking about that. Were there lessons to be learned? Can you avoid something like this? Because it's bound to happen again. So we've got some security and tax experts. Security and tax expert who's going to guide us through it all.
Yeah, that was a crippling.
Yeah, very much so.
was.
So we will be getting into that. But let's talk about what else is in the news. And in the news, big headline in the Nassau Guardian, recent murders are connected. That's according to the police. Commissioner Clayton Fernandez saying that. We're going to get to that in just a second. Just want to talk about a couple of things really quickly. So this was a big story last week, the Bahamas Olympic team and controversy that came out of that. Well, the BOC, the Bahamas Olympic Committee, and the B3As, the Bahamas Association of Athletic Associations, issued a joint statement, and it was titled Joint Resolution of Track and Field Olympic Delegation.
What?
Well, listen to this. So it's very short. It says, with a long-standing relationship between the Bahamas Olympic Committee and the Bahamas Association of Athletic Associations, both bodies have reached an understanding to carry both Shania Adderley and Lacarthia Cooper to the Paris Olympics. It is the continued pursuit of all stakeholders to advance the sport of track and field as we continue to raise the flag of the Bahamas high. Best wishes to Team Bahamas. Now, what does that mean?
Right, because I'm still unclear.
Because they did offer to take Cooper as like on a tour, essentially. But
right, does she get to participate?
Compete, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a story in the Tribune on this. Might be more opinion, is it? Let's see. Yeah, but they mentioned it in there that there is no indication of who will be included on the mixed 4x400 meter relay team or who will be there as an alternate. A joint statement signed by both Ramel Knowles, president of the BOC, and Dramico Archer, president of the B3As, which we just read. Originally Archer released the names of the athletes to be recommended to the BOC for ratification, and he indicated in an interview that Adderley would not be going to the games, although she ran on the team with Shawnee Miller-Weibo, Stephen Gardner, and Alonzo Russell to qualify for the Olympics at the World Relays back in May, right here in Nassau. Following the B3A's national championships in June, where Cooper finished third in the women's 4x400 meters, and Adderley was fifth. The B3As recommended that Cooper go instead of Adderley based on their head-to-head competition. In officially naming the team at the beginning of July, the BOC selected Adderley and left Cooper off the list. That drew a lot of controversy as people felt that the BOC should have stuck with the B3A's recommendation. But the BOC has the jurisdiction over the team selection, and they ultimately decide who makes up the team. The BOC eventually added Cooper to the team, but at that time, last week, they said as an observer.
Right, she would go.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when contacted, Knowles said the BOC's focus is on Paris. Archer, however, simply stated, quote, the B3As and the BOC say let the Olympics begin. Okay. So I guess we'll all know in a few days what really will be happening.
Yeah.
But very interesting.
Do you think it would have been avoided if maybe they'd spoken to each other first before coming out with recommendations or bringing it to the public that this is, ultimately the Bahamas Olympic Committee is the one that makes a decision. So, for a situation like this to be avoided in the future, I think that that's a conversation that needs to be had. So that everything, it doesn't create the level of drama that it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's possible. The B3As do what they normally do, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, you're right. Maybe if the BOC had said, well, let me tell you what we're going to do.
Yeah. Communication between the bodies.
Perhaps. But we will see. We wish everybody all the best, though. We wish everybody all the best. But certainly very interesting. Almost everything is always controversial. Everything has to be controversial these days. What's that about, right?
Yeah, I don't know. But it's wonderful that they both get to experience Paris and that they all get to see the Olympic Village and be a part of all things. I guess that's for the Olympics. And now we just have to wait to see who actually competes.
Yeah.
Y'all definitely don't want Dwight to stop saying because y'all keep sending him these messages.
Oh, this is interesting. I just had this conversation with somebody last week. They're asking, Dwight, be honest, where did you first start hearing about Saharan dust? Seriously, they weren't when we were younger.
Right, never heard it. Right. You're right.
I mean, not to
It
say
might have
it wasn't a
existed,
thing,
correct.
right? But it
didn't-
just wasn't
right.
discussed.
Or maybe we didn't know what it was at that particular point in time.
Understand it, but thank goodness for it. I mean, except for the
Yes.
respiratory issues,
Yeah.
but it does serve, at least in the early part of the season,
To
suppress
keep the hurricanes down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wish we could pump Saharan dust all hurricane season long.
I'm serious.
Right? Drop
I'm
that in
serious.
September when you really need it.
I'm serious.
I think we could all, even as someone with respiratory issues,
You'll
I'd sacrifice
breathe
right,
easier knowing
breathing,
there'll be no hurricane.
so there'd be no hurricanes. You better believe it.
Yeah, I'm serious.
What's the use breathing
Yeah.
when you
Yeah, right.
when you're underwater, right?
I said the same thing to someone last week. You know, we're not going to worry about any hurricanes this week because of the Saharan dust. Yeah.
Eek. All right. So this other story before we get into the crime stuff. Well, this is crime basically, but I don't know if I ever thought about this, but Rastafarianism is still a crime in the Bahamas. Yeah.
I didn't even know it was a crime.
I mean, I know the cannabis portion
Right, that
of
part
it
of it.
is problematic,
Right.
but the whole thing.
I didn't know.
Well, our Rachel Scott writing about this in today's Nassau Guardian. As Attorney General Ryan Pinder opened debate in the Senate yesterday on bills to legalize cannabis for medical and religious use, he said it's important that the government put an end to the criminalization of Rastafarianism. Pinder said, quote, "We believe it is the right thing to do. We do not think it's right to criminalize an entire religion because of the use of their sacrament in their religious activities. We don't believe that, and that is why we've taken the approach that we have taken." We're making the change. Pinder says the bills will help the Bahamas get out in front of an emerging view across the Caribbean that Rastafarians have a constitutional right to cannabis use. He said, quote, "Colleagues should be aware that some Caribbean jurisdictions have recognized that the freedom of religion, the conscience provision of the Constitution, covers the rights of Rastafarians to use cannabis in the exercise of their religion. So the regional trend is that it is recognized that the use of cannabis as a sacrament in the religious faith of Rastafarianism is a constitutionally protected right." As he cited an ongoing case in St. Kitts and Nevis on the same matter, Pinder added that it's important that we have a regulatory framework to address this issue. He said, quote, "We must get ahead and at least establish the framework of which it will be utilized in the Bahamas." He noted the government's efforts to consult at length with various stakeholders with respect to the legislation, but he noted that this does not mean that all the parties are satisfied with it. He said, "Not everyone is going to be happy with the middle ground that we have chosen, but that's why it's a middle ground. We listened to the Rastafarian leaders. We looked at the benchmarks around the region. From a policy point of view, we took a position that we were comfortable with and that we thought was appropriate within the regime in which we are putting forth. And yes, we will continue to listen to the Rastafarians. In fact, we made an amendment to the provision based on our consultations with them. There are multiple denominations within the Rastafarian faith. Some denominations partake in their sacrament at the tabernacle in a group. Some denominations in the Rastafarian faith do not, and it's used more at home in a personal, meditative setting. How we had it originally drafted, you had to partake at the tabernacle. We listened to the different denominations and their input, and we made the change. And so you can use cannabis either at the tabernacle or in a private abode or accommodation, but never in public. This bill does not allow anyone or anywhere for public use." Pinder also emphasized that a religious license will be required to use for the use of cannabis for sacramental purposes. The legislation creates a control system for cannabis use for medical and religious purposes. It will allow the prescription of cannabis for medicinal use to provide relief for a number of issues. And the legislation will remove cannabis from the list of dangerous drugs and allow for the expungement of records for individuals convicted of the possession of 30 grams or less of Indian hemp. All right, let's get your reaction to all that. DeQuesta, you look like you have something to say.
I have a question. Because if cannabis is legalized for medical use and not religious use for the Rastafarians,
Well, I think it's religious use for any
any
that
group,
can show
okay.
that is a
Where
part
are they
of their
going to get it?
sacrament.
Where do they buy it from?
Well,
where is the license distributor for those?
will they still be required to go to the people who provided
For the
medicinal
medicinal,
use?
yeah. Otherwise, where do they get it from? And if those people aren't legalized to sell it, isn't that still a criminal act?
That's a good question. I'm not sure if that has been addressed. I've not heard it. Maybe somebody else can. Right? Will you still have to go to the whoever it is who's licensed the right? Which.
And what do you show? A religious card? Like, I'm just trying to I'm clear on.
And then, because I'm sure if it's a number of people, you'll need a lot more than some other folks. Or will you be allowed to grow for yourself?
Right.
It would be good to know.
Yeah.
We need to check in on that. We were expecting to have some folks here last week, but they stood us up, some government representatives. But
why did you do that, guys?
But maybe they will reschedule. But let's take this call, and you can call in as well. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, toll free 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796. Caller, good morning. What say you?
Good morning, Dwight. How are you?
Doing well.
And good morning to Quessa.
Good morning. I just love how you call my name so properly.
I used to go to St. John's College, Green Giant.
Okay then.
Oh, ain't only Dwight school.
All right.
Listen, Quessa, I love that cup of coffee you have this morning. You right on point. I want some of that because that was my question. My first question was if the laws are tailored according to what they're saying, how is the Rasta man and who he can buy his dope from?
Right.
Sorry, not dope. With
Cannabis.
Who's he going to buy his cannabis from?
Right.
And what happens to him if he's caught? And in addition to that, it opens up a whole can of worms because when you say the medical only a sick person can have cannabis, and then only the Rastas can have sacrament, then you dwelling on discrimination. Because the Rasta man is a part of the society, and so am I. So Dwight, so to Quessa. We may not all have the same beliefs and religions, but if he could smoke dope, then I might as well come out. He could smoke cannabis too, for my reasons. A good lawyer with his salt could take that in court and have all of that stuff mashed up in court. So what they need to do is just decriminalize marijuana after a certain point and call it a day. Thanks for taking my call.
Well,
thank you.
Well, maybe at some point. I don't know if you want to get there.
Gradually.
Press a button and immediately,
gradually.
right? Now, and this might be the first step.
But I mean, even if they press a button and did it, do you think it's going to get worse than it is now? I mean, let's just, keep it real, Bahamas. Like, people are using cannabis. Do you think it's really going to get worse if everybody is able to legally get it? Like, are the people that are not doing it going to say, oh, now that it's legal, let me run out and
not quite legal. Not quite legal.
But you know what I mean?
Will there be a lot more sick people? And will there be a lot of new religions that say that cannabis is part of our sacrament? That is the question I'm asking. But hey, we do need to get, those are good questions you're asking. We need to get the information on that. It's so much in the legislation, but some clarity on that. I'm sure it's there. And if you know it, you could give us a call.
Yeah, call us in.
But let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight. Good morning, Dick Quessa.
Good morning.
I'm going to join my brother this morning. It's always a pleasure to hear your voice on radio. Dwight, I think this conversation is going to spark really a real open dialogue with many persons who is quite interested in not just the plant, but the industry, that's upcoming. The question I had in mind, and I think, Quessa, you basically opened Pandora's box just now, and that is, basically, even though we know that this is an evolving conversation, the cannabis, or for use for medicinal purposes, is the cannabis, as far as we know it, going to contain the component, the THC component, whereas still in the Rastafarian movement or the religion, from the religious standpoint in terms of sacrament, is the THC going to be a part of that component, the raw plant, or is it going to be the medicinal type that's going to be used for the sacrament? This is the great area that still has not been exposed as yet. So, it's going to be quite interesting, because I believe the further down the hole we are going with this, we are going to find that the other purposes for the cannabis plant as a whole in its current form, are there other components or other uses that can be derived from just a plant that's going to be termed legal and illegal? That's the part that I'm curious about right now. But it's just going to show in closing that the Bahamian people are thinking. Many of those who are interested in this as an industry, as well as those who just want to use it for basic, sacrament for religious purposes. I would like to continue to hear the commentary of everybody going forward. Thanks for taking my call, Dwight. Continue the great work.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. Let's read these text messages. A whole lot of text messages so far on this. Quite a few people texting this. This is a well-known song. You don't have to dread to be Rasta. Now, I don't know if they're asking what about the people who don't look like Rastas, but partake in
but in the religion.
Or if they're just trying to be cute. I don't know. But that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you better have your license on you. I don't know.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Is there going to be something to identify you as a religious approved?
But I think A.G. Pinder said it very clearly, though. This must be done either at the tabernacle or in your home.
Right.
In a very
right. But when you go to buy it, how do you identify that you have approval?
That goes back to your question. Right. Yeah. Or, again, will you be allowed to grow because it is part of your religious sacrament?
Right.
And we do need clarity on that. Another texter, you don't have to dread to be Rasta, and I anticipate the Bahamas will have a lot of Rastafarians walking around here. I think it's always been like that. I just want to know why it is that you need a license to partake in a religious sacrament. If that's the case, every Catholic and Anglican church need a liquor license to dispense the blood of Christ during the Eucharist. This is straight up discrimination. Well, all right. I'm sure they've made the same provisions that they're about to make for Rastafarianism, and this is what Pinder is talking about. This has been criminalized, and they are trying to remove that discrimination.
Right.
So it has been many decades coming, but this is what they're trying to do. And yes, it was discrimination. It is discrimination, and they're trying, it seems, to address it. This text says they may as well legalize recreational use like they do with alcohol. Alcohol can kill you if you drink too much, let alone drive. Too much cannabis just puts you to sleep. Well, maybe for a lot of people.
Or you see things, you have hallucinations.
I don't know about that one. But everybody doesn't react the same to anything. So... suppose you can't pay the $250 fine for having cannabis. What will be the penalty? The one that's now possibly jail.
Yeah, you get locked up.
Possibly jail.
And I think we were also waiting on some information on how much of those 250 penalty fines you could get before.
That's what we asked last week.
Yeah. So how much of them can you get?
10th one for the month?
Right.
So Dwight, does a Rasta in his personal abode have to get a license? Rastas shouldn't need one if it's their right. Make it make sense. You all know society complains more about drunk people than high people. Alcohol needs restrictions. And this person's Dean Bain.
I love it. Pinky, I know that's you. I love it.
Dean Bain has a beautiful, soothing morning voice. So
thank you.
If you're a regular listener, you know what that's about.
Yes. Well, that ain't Pinky then. Okay.
I don't know. But that's, we got some morning blend inside jokes.
No. Yes. Morning blend listeners would know.
Let's take some more calls. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah. Good morning, Mr. Strachan.
Hi. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Degressa.
Good morning.
Yeah, we need to move beyond. And so I was taken aback. That's why I like listening to God. I learned something. I didn't know that the colonialistic stain brain still remain, that Rastafarianism is illegal. I'm appalled, right?
Yeah.
And so it's the demonization of anything Afrocentric. You know what I'm saying? And so now I'm listening to the conversations different from GNN. I'm hearing the naivety and the need for, like Dr. Smith said, real public dialogue and education on the cannabis plant, right? To which there would be the cannabis sativa, the cannabis indica, and the hybrid, the rudderals, right? Now, the thing is, Jeff mentioned a very naive question. Why would the Rasta smoke without the psychotropic or psychedelic effect of the, I would say psychotropic, of the THC? So we know that there are about 383, they say, right, cannabinoids or CBDs, right? The CBDs are very therapeutic for a whole host of reasons because they are in the endocannabinoid system, neurotransmitters throughout these cells in the body, right? This is just basic thing. Now, there's a lot of misconception, and I think I can't understand what the question, but we need regulation, of course, right? Because you're still going to have underage people having this desire to smoke this plant. You understand what I'm saying? So that becomes a problem, Mr. Strawn. So, and it's not all good because you have, when you smoke weed for the first time, you have to be able to know how much amount you're smoking because it's going to affect you. Like Degressa say, some people, I wouldn't say hallucinations, Degressa, because from my recollections as a young man, it wouldn't be hallucination. It's a fast. You would see, let's say you're smoking, and you would see something, and it can appear to be something different from what it is, but the object is actually there. Okay. So I don't know who would see something without something. A cloud could look like something, or a tree could look like something, and you could react to something. Because I remember at one time I smoked some hashish with the weed, which is a concentrated form. And me and my friend, we was going to Gombe, and we went. I didn't want to go anymore because I became kind of like antisocial, just withdrawn. But as you smoke the weed more, you become more relaxed. You have more tolerance and all of these different things. It's not demonic as people are saying. And so I quite agree with everybody as far as the discrimination with the Rasta, because a person don't have to belong to a commune in order to be able to consume this. So I find it quite discriminatory. And I also found that there are three sects of Rastafarianism, and one is the Trail Tribe, the Bobo Shanti, and the Nyabingi. So as I could remember reading years ago, the Trail Tribe actually believe in some divinity of Jesus Christ. So there are differences in the ideologies, and this is what they, you know what I mean, because Rastafarianism was introduced to Jamaica by Indians, and also the cannabis plant. And now, another problem is with public education, and Dr. Smith, when you weigh in the drug itself, let's say they have this foolish concept of 30 grams and under, which is actually 1.7 grams more than an ounce. So if they say catch somebody with a bag or a plastic, the plastic weighs about 5 grams or 1 point something gram or whatever, and then you have like a threshold which in ignorance you would weigh the whole bag, but you actually weigh the substance. This is just a part of experience. So this is something that the mindless don't even understand. It's specific weight, it's scientific, so we have to be able to go along these models and educate the police also, because they would be quick to add on to make you pay a fine, because it's a financial tool now that it's become, because I'm saying if I'm caught with 30 grams or less, you still I still have to go to court and pay a $250 fine because it's decriminalized, it's not legal. So there's a lot of loopholes in this, it's more like injustice. And you see what I'm saying, Mr. Strachan?
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. A lot to think about. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning to both of you.
Hi.
Ms. Dane, and to you, Dwight. Dwight, when it comes to THC levels, right, you have could run anywhere from 15% to as high as 30% of THC. When you go to the extract, they generally clean about 50% to as much as 90% THC. And you actually can have some strains that have variations that have no THC. And even in certain parts, when I say low, very low to even be measurable, to be even considered from a drug or even to get a high. You could smoke 30 pounds of hemp and you would even get a buzz. So how do a policeman or something look at something and make a determination as to whether or not it's an illegal product or should be defined as illegal? Now, if you listen to the Attorney General that says that he thinks this is a constitutional right, I don't understand why should I have to pay if I smoke? Why would I have to pay to exercise my constitutional right? And so, and then you begin to look and say, if it's a constitutional right for religious beliefs, then if I start a church, my biophilic church today, that is recognized as a legitimate church, then I too should have access to it without having to pay, even if just because I'm new. And so,
why are you mentioning pay? Why are you?
Yeah, because they have to pay $1,000. If the church has to pay $1,000, at the same time you're saying it's a constitutional right, but then you say I got to pay a fee to exercise that right. The Constitution doesn't say you have to pay a fee to exercise a right. This is what the Attorney General said. And so what happens, though, is the next question you have to ask yourself, Dwight, is that if you're going to pay a fine, didn't you pseudo-legalize something without it's a conflict? You're saying that I can get fined for having it, but no one has a right to sell it to me. So how do I end up having it? And then, so that's condoning somewhat of an illegal act within itself, because you're saying, there's nowhere for me to buy it, because you definitely won't be able to buy it from the pharmaceutical without a prescription. So by a prescription, then I don't need the fine. And so what happens, right? Would it be guns next? That you say guns are illegal, you have a license for a gun, but if you have a gun, you just pay a $250 fine. I mean, what sense does that make?
It kind of is like that already.
But I'm saying to you, it's the same principle in law. And so the problem is that, again, let me end and say this right. Right, totally in the Bahamas, at any given time, there'll be no more than 8,000 people that classifies under the things they say are eligible for medical marijuana. And 90% or more of them at any given time will never, ever be prescribed THC or cannabis. So the question is, where's these thousands of jobs and this impact? Then I think somehow we should have an economic impact study or assessment or something like that. Because we're always screaming, you have this many jobs, you have this many impact. What exactly are we legalized? What is the industry have we created? These different things.
Well, I suspect they're thinking there are going to be a lot of people coming into the country.
Right, tourism.
No, but Dwight, let me ask you a question. That's a good question, Dwight. 5 million of them come by boat for 4 hours. How many of them, you cannot get a prescription in the Bahamas unless it's by a local doctor for the pharmacist here to recognize it. How many of them will have time to go see a doctor?
That's what the pharmacists were concerned about, because what was proposed changes that a bit, as long as you have a card.
What it does is now it recognizes what the pharmacist says is true, but it's the law doesn't change for the pharmacist to be able to recognize a U.S. doctor here.
But
right. A local physician has to give the prescription.
That's
what they were proposing. But then the government did not necessarily go in that direction, right? And that's always been the concern.
The government didn't have to go in that direction. The law is already in place. The government have to give an exception for somebody to be able to get it without seeing a doctor. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. The complexity of it is then. So are you saying people are going to then fly in, because you definitely can't take it out of the country because you're going by boat? That's transporting going from country to country.
Yeah,
and so then the question is, so what you're saying, they're going to fly in to fill a prescription that they can have filled anywhere else, so they're going to pay a couple $100 to fill a prescription?
I mean, they would come to sit by the beach under a coconut tree and look at the water and help their depression.
Yeah, and then you have like record numbers of one-day visitors to the country. I'm sure some of them are smokers.
We don't have enough doctors for the hospital. You're talking about for people coming in for cannabis.
Yeah.
You wait and see.
Yeah.
No, but that's what I'm saying to you.
This will be. We're all concerned about people not coming off the boats. This will solve.
But you would not be able to do it fast, Dwight. Okay. Even for 3 million people, right? You say the millions of people, right? Here it is. We have a lack of room crisis from the hotels, Grand Bahama alone, 20,000, Abaco, and these other places. You have a disruption that's happening in the housing market for bed and breakfast. There's no organized, and this is why I want to see the economic impact assessment or study, whatever, because I'm so tired of the linguistic masturbation. that I want information. The humans are entitled to information.
The information seems to be not connecting.
Yeah.
And again, we'd hope to have some folks.
Thank
Thanks so
you.
much, C. Allen. We'd hope to have some folks last week. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but well, hopefully we will be able to arrange for that too, and they'll answer a lot of these questions. As we go to the break, let's read some of these text messages here. This person says, it's white people against marijuana are hypocrites because they smoke and drink cigars or cigarettes. Just legalize and regulate it so we can fight other fights. Well, I don't know how many people who smoke cigars and cigarettes are very much opposed to marijuana. I don't think it's that many, but okay. If they have to pay $1,000 for religious use, I hope they give you some kind of card. A mark in the palm of your hand would do also. Well, that doesn't sound good. Okay. The Mormon Church and some Indian religions indulge in... Oh, no, let's not go there. And that's changed. Okay. Anyway, by the way, what? Dwight, have you and DeQuesta ever smoked marijuana? You know, but never inhaled like Bill Clinton? And some rastas are unaffiliated with any grouping. Mm-hmm.
No.
Do you want to answer that?
No, I haven't.
I have not either. I have not. By the way, marijuana is not truly illegal in America. You just need a special stamp that the government refuses to issue. Constitutional right is free. And there are Reddit posts in the Bahamas all the time asking where tourists can find weed. Even though it's legal, people still find a way.
Yeah.
Even though it's illegal, you mean? Yes, yes. All right. So, okay. Anyway, let's take a break. We'll be back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
This is not a dreadlocks thing, divine conception of the heart. Don't be afraid of your ever burning fire. Trust in your fire and you'll never get burned. The fire that rains over heat, air, and water. No water can put out your fire. Your fire gonna lift Rasta higher. The door of the truth.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
I'm Charles de Ledesma, and these are the AP International headlines. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has signalled that a ceasefire deal that would free dozens of hostages from captivity in Gaza could be taking shape. Netanyahu is in Washington, where he expects to meet with President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. China state media says Palestinian factions, Hamas and Fatah, have signed a declaration in Beijing on ending a years-long rift. At least 146 people have been killed in mudslides in a remote part of Ethiopia that's been hit with heavy rainfall, according to local authorities. Young children and pregnant women are among the victims. With the start of the Olympics just days away, athletes from around the world are touching down in Paris ahead of Friday's opening ceremony. Ukrainian athletes are also present, despite the backdrop of war in their homeland. Rower Anastasia Kozhenkova says, "I want victory here to be the same as victory at home." I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Got your first look at traffic for the morning, brought to you by RBC. Reminder about Eastern Road. They've been doing a lot of work there. BPL says they're done with their part, but the repaving, that continues. So that's been causing some headaches. So keep that in mind if you're on Eastern Road this morning. In your real-time traffic at this hour, we're getting reports of a broken down vehicle on the Sydney Poitier Bridge. And that is indeed causing some delays on the bridge. So keep that in mind if you are on the way to Paradise Island this morning. Elsewhere, we've got Mile Butler Highway, heavy traffic for you northbound on the... As you approach Harold Pond, you'll see that. And portions along Carmichael Road, eastbound mainly to Blue Hill Road. Blue Hill Road's busy for you just north of Soldier Road on the way to Independence Drive. And those are your hotspots right now. That's your real-time traffic. We'll have another update for you after 8 o'clock news. Morning Blend Traffic brought to you by RBC. Start a conversation at rbc.com/ all of you. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after this message and the news.
Life is full of twists, turns, and defining moments that create your own unique story. However your story unfolds, we're here to help guide you through it. From every big decision to every new adventure, RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you.
Living with a neurological condition shouldn't define you. At Cleveland Clinic in Florida, we do whatever it takes to make life better today while discovering new treatments for a brighter tomorrow. From epilepsy management to specialized spine care and brain tumor surgery, we're delivering world-class neurology care for the day-to-day, for the days you live for every care in the world. Visit clevelandclinicflorida.org/Caribbean.
Boy. A raga, so a raga, boy, You don't have to dread to be Rasta. Oh. This is not a dreadlocks thing, divine conception of the heart. Well, you don't have to dread to be Rasta. Well, this is not a dreadlocks thing, divine conception of the heart. Well, it's a life of a liberty, lived by the fathers of our history. Uphold the anciency and prophecy, trust in the power of the Trinity. Yeah, got to believe in His majesty. Oh yes, His lineage and divinity.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. And now at 8:22, it's time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. We've got a high-pressure ridge extending across the Bahamas that will continue to generate fresh to moderate breezes, while streaming moisture will support pockets of isolated shower activity. We've got a heat advisory, another one in effect. This has been a number of days with heat advisories. UV indices are expected to be in the high to extreme range as well. And everyone's being advised to remain hydrated, wear sunscreen, loose-fitting clothing, and take frequent breaks if you have to be outdoors. There is also a possibility for funnel cloud or water spout activity in the extreme northwest Bahamas, and boaters and beachgoers should exercise caution in the central and southeastern islands due to the risk of rip currents. And with Saharan dust, everybody who's sensitive to air particles, airborne particles, and with respiratory issues, everybody needs to take precautions. So a lot going on weather-wise. For all areas today, forecast partly sunny, hot, and a bit breezy with a few isolated showers and thunderstorms, mainly over the northwestern islands, becoming fair and warm tonight with a chance of a few pockets of showers and thunderstorms. A bit hazy as some Saharan dust will linger before moving away tonight. Temperatures, we're looking at highs getting up to around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index will make it feel like it's 105 Fahrenheit, 41 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. It's currently about 85, mostly cloudy right now in Nassau. 80 and showers in some parts of Grand Bahama, 80 in Freeport. In your extended outlook, high pressure is expected to remain across the area while generating fresh to moderate breezes along with elevated temperatures. Streaming tropical moisture expected to support isolated shower activity. And another wave of Saharan dust expected to move into the southern islands by Thursday, reducing air quality and promoting more of these hazy conditions. So for tomorrow, Wednesday, mostly sunny, hot and breezy with isolated showers and thunderstorms, becoming fair and breezy at night with a chance of isolated showers and thunderstorms. Thursday, mostly sunny, hot and breezy with isolated showers or thunderstorms, becoming fair and breezy at night with a chance of isolated showers and thunderstorms. The tropics are quiet, tropical cyclone formation unexpected during the next 7 days. That's your morning blend weather check, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Sherwin-Williams Paints has got you covered for all of your painting and equipment needs. Visit Sherwin-Williams Paints online or in-store today. And it is time for another check of traffic, brought to you by RBC. Find your loan solution with RBC. A reminder of the work that continues on Eastern Road that's causing some delays, especially in the evenings. Not looking too bad right now, but definitely slow moving. And elsewhere, we've got Blue Hill Road looking pretty busy for you near Carmichael and just north of Soldier Road on the way to Independence Drive if you're heading northbound. Milo Butler Highway also busy for you as you approach Harold Pond if you're heading northbound on the way to Tawny Williams Darling Highway. And we've got pockets along Prince Charles Drive with major intersections mainly. Paradise Island Bridge, Sydney Party Bridge looking better. That issue might be resolved now. Otherwise, you got a pretty smooth commute this morning. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC. Start a conversation at rbc.com/loan/all of you.
Age ain't nothing but a number, they say. Whether you're a baby boomer or a Gen X, Y, or Z, Easy Car Sales invites you to be part of the new Generation E. We drive electric for the savings, for the planet, and most importantly, for the smooth, powerful ride. You really can have it all. We love our EV, and we are Generation E. Join us. Everyone is welcome. Visit IamGenerationE.com to find out more. Brought to you by Easy Car Sales.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
We're gonna give you a check every week for a year. Percy's Pension Plan, Island Game, keep you winning. Percy's Pension Plan, dream big, we will help you live it. Percy's Pension Plan, Island Game, we got you. Percy's Pension Plan, from the friends you can trust. If winning is a must, go play the game you know, cause your best chance is with us. The most trustworthy name is Percy's Island Game. So put 20 on your account and ride this easy train at Percy's Island Game.
We go everywhere. Shop early at Janae's Chesapeake Road annual back-to-school sale going on now. Get up to 20% off on all school items in stock. Yes, all school items in stock. Shirts, jumpers, skirts, boys' long and short pants, school neckties, PE shorts, and a variety of colors and school monograms. Shop early and don't miss out at Janae's Uniform Center Chesapeake Road's annual back-to-school sale going on now. Remember, we go everywhere. Beat the rush and save, save, save at Janae's annual sale now.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
Craving something delicious and freshly made? Dunkin' has got you covered all day your way. From savory sausage, egg and cheese to crispy bacon, ham, and even tuna. Our sandwiches are made to order just for you. Choose your favorite. Bagels, croissant, toast, or muffin. Whatever you want, we've got it. Whether it's a classic grilled cheese or a hearty club, your perfect sandwich is just a bite away. Dunkin's fresh, made-to-order sandwiches made all day your way. Only at Dunkin'. The Bahamas runs on Dunkin'.
Looking for great device deals and offers this summer? Look no further. Alive has special discounts on the latest smartphones, Ring devices, and accessories. Plus, as an Alive customer, you can expect exclusive yet extra offers and rewards, which means even more value for your money. We're talking more data, prizes, and surprises. Upgrade with us and experience the perfect summer with Alive in store or at bealive.com/deal.
Sherwin-Williams Bahamas doesn't mess about when it comes to product range and product knowledge.
If it's a new product come in the store, we walk the store and study that product.
One thing with our boss, if a new product comes in, he takes the time and he's always keeping us up to date with product knowledge. And we just had 9 weeks of different products that we had to study, and we had exams at the end of each product.
Yeah.
The only way we could sell the product effective, we have to know that product. Yeah, that helps us to relate to our customers. It gives us better knowledge to know what product to introduce to them. You understand? So we can know what product to give them to use and what product not to give them to use. So product knowledge is really key in Sherwin-Williams.
They got the keys. And the key is the product knowledge that comes with our extensive product range at Sherwin-Williams Paints, Bahamas. Find color in every day.
RBC. RBC will find the right loan for all of you with competitive rates and extended terms to suit you. Whether it's for debt consolidation, your next vehicle, or home purchase, sometimes we all need a little more. No matter the reason for the loan, we're here to help you find the solution. RBC. RBC has all the loans for all of you. Let's start with a conversation today.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
In the world of business, technology is not a choice. It's a necessity. And for businesses that demand excellence, there's only one choice for unparalleled support and cutting-edge technology. Custom Computers. You have challenges and we have solutions. Computing, networking, storage, and printing for enterprises large and small, aligned with premium brands like HP, Microsoft, Konica Minolta, and more. Get tech done the right way with Custom Computers. Call the Know-How team at 396-1101.
Hey Bahamas, ready for some eye-openers? Check out 2 brand new books by our legendary 3-time PM, Hubert Ingram. Get the tea on his amazing leadership and courage to buck the system. These books are for you, the game changers, movers and shakers, and anyone passionate about our nation's roots and future. Available now at Dungalik Studios, Logos Bookstore, the National Art Gallery of the Bahamas, and Chapter 1 Bookstore. Score your copies today. Celebrate our amazing legacy.
Are you seeking exceptional health care beyond the traditional hospital setting? Introducing Doctors Hospital Clinics, your trusted destination for comprehensive care. Our full-service locations provide affordable services through our Loyalty Advantage membership program and NHI. Experience seamless care with our integrated health system, where your medical history travels with you, ensuring continuity of care. Book an appointment today at clinics.doctorshosp.com. We make primary care easy.
At Wendy's, we are different. We don't just use beef. It's fresh, never frozen. Our burgers are square because we never cut corners. Served hot off the grill with fresh lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and American cheese. We believe in fast food done right. Always serving fresh, never frozen beef. Order a hot, juicy Dave single, double, or triple. Made with fresh, never frozen beef. Now only at Wendy's. Different inside and out.
are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with DeQuesta Dean. We've been having some great conversations off air.
Having a good time.
Yeah. Oh boy, those would have been interesting on air.
Yeah.
But
they're not on air conversations.
Not quite. So sorry, folks. But anyway, we continue talking about what is in the news. Again, coming up in our business hour, we're going to be talking about that IT meltdown from Friday that's still going on for some companies around the world. What local companies can do to protect themselves in the next time it happens. And you know there will be next time.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into that this morning. Coming up in our 9 o'clock hour. But we continue again talking about what's in the news. The big headline in the NASA Guardian, want to get to this. Recent murders are connected. That's according to Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernander. The police held a press conference yesterday about this after 7 or 8 murders? 7 since Thursday night. Just unbelievable. Crazy. What's been happening. And everyone's as concerned as they were in the beginning of the year, but we knew that every time there's a lull, we know that there's something else around the corner. But take a listen to what came out of this in this report from our Destiny Johnson.
As it relates to a water park here at Nassau Cruise.
Recorded in recent days were targeted, according to Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernander, who revealed that police have arrested the alleged boyfriend of the woman whose body was found lying on the street near a gas station with multiple stab wounds.
Detectives are on the ground as we speak. We are not clear as to what happened there, but we have an adult male who just came into custody a short time ago. The alleged suspected boyfriend, he is in custody. We will be probing this investigation, and hopefully that we will be able to bring some closure to this. We suspect that it's a domestic matter that we are looking at.
Fernander also told reporters there is a connection between the shooting death of Neil Miller on Hannah Road on July 16th and the murders of Jamie Tynes and Adrian Edgecombe, who were killed in Fox Hill on July 18th. Tynes and Edgecombe were gunned down as they arrived at a home on Camps Court.
As I indicated, the motive for this matter, we are unclear at this time, but we know that that incident is connected with O'Neal Miller. We are following some significant leads. The detectives continue to be on the ground digging for additional information.
71 people have been murdered so far this year. 4 of those victims died between Saturday and Monday.
Based on our investigation this far, we believe that all of the matters were targeted homicides. These persons were being targeted. I just wish to ask the Bahamian people to continue to pray for your Royal Bahamas Police Force. We will continue to serve this nation with distinction, courage, respect, and loyalty.
The police chief says officers will boost crime-fighting efforts.
We have some named suspects and persons of interest in some of these matters, and we will be going after them. And we will continue to have our presence out there and being headed by my senior executive leadership team. We will continue to be out there to ensure that the Bahamian people continue to remain safe.
Reporting for Guardian News Network, I'm Destiny Johnson.
All right. Boy, that's a lot going on in this place. A lot of people mixed up in a lot of foolishness, and it just doesn't seem like it's ending. And people aren't learning lessons from folks who came before. Like, what are you doing? Why are you getting mixed up in this stuff?
I don't know. It's like almost like a badge of honor.
Oh, okay.
Right. Like it's almost like, I don't even know what it is, Dwight, honestly. But I know one thing. They ain't scared to die.
No, definitely not. And the commissioner also giving an update on the probe into the Criminal Investigation Department, because got these issues on all sides, it seems. But Martinica Thompson writing about that in today's Nancy Guardian. The investigators are making, quote, excellent progress in their investigation into the corruption allegations at CID. Fernandez said, quote, that matter is well in hand. The investigators are making some excellent progress in the investigation. They are also in communication with our UK partners who have asked for documents, and they're doing just that. Fernandez could not put a timeline on the investigation because he said there are a number of lines of inquiry that have to be probed. Of course, you know why this was sparked, but yeah, so just still a lot of questions on this. Last week, Fernandez said that officers from the Security and Intelligence Branch were on the ground and speaking with people about the investigation. SIB is leading the investigation. The commissioner previously said international entities from the UK and the US are assisting. The force has reportedly asked Scotland Yard in the UK for help. Reportedly because for some reason they're still being cagey when it comes to who exactly is helping and the scope. People keep asking, what are they required to do? What are these documents that they've asked for? And what is their role versus the SIB leading the investigation?
Because that's a good way to give information just now without giving any information, really. Because I'm not any clearer on where we are, who's involved, it's excellent progress, but give me a little bit. Like, what?
Let's get your reaction to that, folks. Let's hear from you. 323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. All right, here's some text messages. The person says here, for the police to know the incidents are connected, wouldn't they first have to know the motive? Isn't the motive the reason why? Can you please explain? No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. You don't need to know why, but you just know that
they're known to each other.
Right, or that you all had a beef, people saw you arguing, who knows?
A previous issue that
you
they
were
resolved.
Seen at the crime, something, but not necessarily the motive. But hopefully that will become clearer. This person says here, is this a joke? Maybe this is sarcasm? We need more water parks to help stem the tide of murder and mayhem.
Yeah.
I think that's sarcasm.
I think it's sarcasm too.
I hope it's sarcasm.
I think it is.
We got a lot of beaches, so if you need to have some fun in the water.
But maybe it's true that people are idle. Maybe that's the point the text is trying to make, that people are idle.
Okay. Sure. This text says, we want to know if any of the murders are connected to those voice notes. If the investigation into the voice notes is looking at references to not only the $1.4 million robbery, but also other cases mentioned on the tape, and exactly who are the UK partners and what have they been tasked to do or with doing. I notice they don't say Scotland Yard. The most recent info at Scotland Yard was that they had not responded. I don't know about that one, but okay. But yeah, this is what we're asking as well.
That's juicy. That text. That was juicy.
Well, so we will see, but there's a big picture in the front page of the paper today with the commissioner holding a very, very tall gun, very long gun.
How? Where are they? It was confiscated, so how are they getting here? Like, how are the criminals having more ammunition, better ammunition than the police force? We soon see tanks.
Oh, boy. You laugh.
I'm serious. I'm serious. And not from the police. I mean, how?
We got you. Don't be. You'll be, boy. Tanks and submarines. Let's see what these callers have to say. Good morning. You're on the air. Hi, good morning.
Oh, good morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
Dwight, we are more concerned now about this marijuana bill and all that stuff. What we need to be more concerned now is how these guns are getting into the Bahamas. If they put in this bill, it would be good. And it might seem harsh, but what I'm going to say how many ports that boats can pull in Nassau. I'm just talking about Nassau now. Life of Key.
It's plenty. We'll be going on for a long time if you try to name all.
I think you got 2 out, but Yamacoa.
Yeah, it's quite a few.
Paradise Island.
Mm-hmm.
They need to put a blockade.
Oh,
Dwight,
okay.
nobody can tell me different. These guns are not dropping out of the sky. They're not plucking them up like corn. They are coming in by cruise, pleasure craft. Even right here, all the ones right there on by the bridge. Customs don't go there and check when they come in. Dwight, please, you got clout. If they don't put a blockade in this country, we can continue to have these high-power rights. They're not coming on aircraft. And like I said, the way they're getting here, Dwight, is through these ports that don't go in the dead heat of the night, the boats come in. Dwight, let me give you an example.
Maybe even in the daytime looking like pleasure. Probably even in the daytime looking like pleasure. Yeah, are you listening to me?
Okay,
I'm saying
Dwight.
they're probably
Another thing,
okay.
Dwight.
No, you're not hearing me.
I used to be a police down in Bimini.
Okay.
You know, you got South Bimini, North Bimini. I can just show you how this country is. All the police officers, customs is to leave. Now, it changed a bit. And we had to put in our logbook how many planes we left on South Bimini, and we catch the ferry back over and come back over for 9 o'clock. If we leave 4 planes on the runway, when we come back the next morning, there are 7. When I go to the when we went to as officers went to the custom officers and all that, why these planes? What happened to these planes? Oh, don't worry about it. They're being cleared. How in the world the plane could be cleared and you are not Bimini? We left 4, but when we come back, we meet 7. You got the drift what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, very serious. Thank you very much. And it's been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
But I was saying that probably they're not sneaking in the middle of the night. These are probably coming in pleasure
Daytime,
yachts
yeah.
in the daytime, big and bold.
Yep.
Why do they have to be? Like you said, people might not be searching them.
Yeah.
And so that's a very scary situation there. Let's take this call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning. It's Alan Johnson once again. You're right. 700 islands and keys. Just put a customs officer on each one and don't ever let anybody sleep.
What? You got to sleep, man, Cialan.
No, that's what I'm saying. You put a shift, you create jobs, so, even put somebody on a key and if nobody's there, just airdrop them food and water. Because, they might just go there and hide it there and go back for it later or something. It's practically impossible. Though technology can enhance it. It's something, it's a social aspect of our lives that we have to address. But, Dwight, I want to talk about this, the European or UK investigators. I'm somewhat perplexed as why we would not use the U.S. arm of that for investigation. When you take into consideration that we have a daily working relationship with North America, drugs, guns, it's a two-way transportation thing. Most drugs or whatever has a destination for that northern destination. The U.S. government keep continuous intelligence on the Bahamas, even if they don't necessarily share it with the Bahamas. And so I would think that they would be most equipped for their intelligence to be able to look at, if we are to look to preserve our integrity of the police force, utilizing their internal intelligence, they would be able to be more equipped to provide input and related aspect of that. And you could see that when they practice with, South American country, I think it's Panama, whatever, where intelligence information is even shared with them on us here in the Bahamas. And so it's just that UK is not actively involved with us on a daily basis. And an investigation will happen from paperwork, from a trail of paperwork, as opposed to intelligence as to what is happening on the streets, what is happening, everything else. It's just for me doesn't make sense.
Well, who knows? There might be all kinds of other factors. Maybe money. Maybe it might cost too much. I don't know. And just understanding.
The U.S. would be very, very, very concerned in knowing the truth about our law enforcement because they are people in the Bahamas and other places. Lives depend on it. David Obat and people in the Bahamas and cooperating, they'll be very concerned about the integrity of their law enforcement, data sharing, etc. Especially if it's a perception that the police and our police cannot be trusted. So, I guarantee you.
Sometimes you might be too close to a situation to be objective, and maybe that might be it too. I don't know, but
again, how do you investigate from long distance?
Yeah.
We have drive-by investigations.
Well, this is what everyone's asking, right? How will this work? Are they coming at some point? We don't know anything.
What happens is you'd start with it from a data standpoint, even from the source. Dwight, do you know if you listen and amplify for the multiple voices, even on that recording, you could hear somebody in the background that was helping the person ask the questions? There's a whole lot of information that investigation can bring. Forensic investigation concerning the tapes, the association, the connection to individuals, the scene where you say this one connects to this one, to this one, to this one, and mapping the whole thing. This isn't something a single instance,
Yeah.
This can be very cascade all the way into the past for accusations and stuff. And the worst thing you could have is a diminishing trust in the police force as to what is happening, or how people have a perception of it. This is truly, I know we may take it as minor, this is truly huge, especially from an international perspective.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's take this call. Good morning. You're on the air. Hi. Turn on your radio for us, please, and talk to us. Are you there? Just hearing ourselves. Okay. Let's take the other call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi, caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hey, how you doing, Dwight?
Doing well. Turn on your radio for us, please.
Yeah, I got you. Good morning. I think it's the question.
Yes, thank you. Good morning.
Okay, and good morning to the nation. I caught the tail end of what C. Allen was saying, Dwight, which is what led me to call in good morning to the nation. You don't have to be present on the ground to conduct or to oversee an investigation, especially if you're talking about evidence that can be examined no matter what part of the world you're in. And so I don't get what C. Allen is suggesting as it relates to the Royal Bahamas Police Force working with one of their partners in the UK to conduct.
All right, so Anton, I don't mean to be troublesome, but I mean, how do you know this? How do you know that you don't need to be on the ground to conduct an investigation into corruption?
Let me ask you a question, Dwight. Let's start with one question. When we have evidence that needs to be examined, and we send it off to the labs, are those labs present in the Bahamas?
Those people are dead. I mean, it's not the same thing. It's very different.
Just answer that simple
That's
question.
science. It's very different from investigating people and looking into them.
Forensic evidence doesn't require you being static in country in order to.
It's not what this is.
Right? If you have the technology, no matter what part of the world you're in, you can examine the forensic evidence. Right?
There are plenty of nuances that dealing with people face to face can help you to realize something. Like, he gave all the right answers, but did you notice his body language? Did you notice all this stuff there?
Bear in mind, Dwight, that the police and the independent body within the police force is still conducting. They're the ones leading and conducting face-to-face investigations.
Okay, I asked you about this before. Why are you commenting so much on this situation? I don't understand it. What is it?
Like anyone else in the public domain who calls your show to comment, I'm commenting.
No, but you're doing it in a different way, as if... I don't understand it. It's very strange.
I'm not influenced by innuendo and propaganda. As if I'm only influenced by evidence. Yes, that's what I do, Dwight.
I mean, I can see if you do PR for the police force, if you're a former police officer, or if you are on the force. But some of the stuff that you're saying is like,
if I'm a Bahamian,
no.
Or if I'm a
You notice that you aren't asking questions. You keep telling us things. Like everybody else calling and saying, how come they don't do this? Why don't they do this? But you're telling us you don't need to do that. You got to do this. And this is
Dwight, if I'm a Bahamian citizen who's well informed and can make a contribution.
about corruption on the police force?
Like anyone else, Dwight.
Okay. I hear you. I don't know. I think it's a little odd.
And finally, I'll make a final comment based on what you're saying, Dwight. You know, it's one thing to lead a discussion into a matter that's live and ongoing, right? And it's one thing to lead a responsible discussion into a matter that's live that impacts the very threshold of the country's policing. And that's where I think the difference comes in. Thank you for the opportunity. God bless. Okay.
I hear you. I don't know if that's what you're doing. Right, I don't, you're not authorized to speak in the manner you're speaking. It's very different from other people saying, I would like to see, I would prefer. I don't think it's so different. That's not what you're doing. You're saying, like...
concretely.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
But, okay. Unless, just say it. Hey, this is because I'm working with them or doing some public relations or something. Yeah. I mean, declare it. I just think that it's odd. Like, how can you say that? Like, oh, yeah, you don't need to be here to do this type of investigation. That's very strange. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
Hope your guests and hope your families are doing well. You know, Dwight, sometimes I wonder when they come to Antoine and then carry on for so long with the same things over and over. Why don't they get them and employ them on the police force? I think Antoine will do a better
Let's not
job
make it
on the
personal.
police
We don't need
force
to make it
than
personal.
calling
I
back.
appreciate Anton for calling. I just have a disagreement
I
with
can tell
the way
that.
he's doing it.
But you know, Dwight, let me tell you something. I have worked places, and this has happened, right in our harbor alone. Right up there by Brown's Boat Basin where Rubis is. I've worked at Rubis. The dock right now is closed. I've been up there working at Rubis and in that area many times for different reasons. And I've seen yachts come in the day and come in the night, right from over harbor side, the shopping plaza and stuff like that. Now, whether these people come off the yacht, but I've never seen no immigration, no customs come up there. Never, the times I was working up there, never saw a custom officer or an immigration officer come to dock right by Brown Boat Basin. I've seen people come off the boats, tie up the boats, move off the boats with duffel bags, put them in cars, move out, come back later with no duffel bags.
And have you reported these?
I've seen them going over by the supermarket, maybe to purchase groceries for the yachts and stuff like that. The point is, I've never seen no custom officer, neither no immigration officer, pull up to that dock out there. That's only one dock. We got docks and marinas lining the whole harbor. We got canals and things all through Lightfoot Key at Old Port Bay. We got islands in the outer islands where you might have one policeman with a jeep, and he on one end of the island. By the time he get to the south end of the island, that yacht done pull up and gone. We don't know how the grass and how the guns come in there, but I know one thing: I don't believe they come in by plane.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever reported to the police or said anything?
Right.
Have you ever said anything to the police before? You ever reported it or anything?
Dwight, I've said this over repeatedly right on your show. I'm saying it right now. They listening right now, and they know the dock is closed now by Rubis. But that dock, I've seen many days and nights while I was out there fishing on the dock while I was working.
Okay.
When these things happen, and I don't know who the people are. I see them jump off the boat, go out with the duffel bag, somebody out there waiting, they go out, they come back, and they go back on the yacht.
Boy.
Wake up in the morning, have breakfast on the deck, and all that kind of thing. I don't know who they are.
Interesting
but I'm
stuff.
telling you, I never see no law enforcement officers from the Bahamas come to meet the yacht at the marina. And that's been happening for years. Right in Atlantis, the biggest yachts pull right in Atlantis Canal.
The Quest has a question for you.
Well, I mean, it may not necessarily be for him, but I want to know, like, is there a process for when these ships or these boats are coming in? Is like part of entry? Like, is there a quiet stop before they can come through a certain body of water? Like, what is the actual process if somebody knows and can call and let us know? Because, when you come by plane, you have to, there's an entry port. So if you come by boat, is there a quiet place that you have to pass or stop or whatever to be inspected?
As far as I know, some are, but is everyone being
Doing
searched
it.
and stopped?
Right.
That's a concern. But yeah, good questions though. Let's take these final calls before we have to break for news. Good morning, you're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight, and good morning, Nicola.
Good morning.
Like you were saying earlier about on hands-on or just looking at the paperwork when it comes to investigation. I feel like if I am especially like a police force, everywhere around the world, the police force have what is called a thin blue line that they don't choose to cross when it comes to each other. So I feel like how could you properly investigate the police force from a distance? Because how do you know from a distance that you're actually talking to Dwight Strachan versus Barry White?
Yeah.
How do you know who you're speaking to?
And that you got all the papers. Did you get all the documents? Did they send you? There was a whole file on the floor. How come you didn't send those, right? I mean, that's
exactly.
weird.
So if they're there in the office or they're there in the building or on the ground, they can actually see the paper that you left on the desk that you never handed in.
Yeah.
They can actually see your... Do you know that you can say more with your facial expression and your body language than you do on paper?
Absolutely.
Exactly. So, see, this is one of the things persons use when they are hiring people. That's why they want to see you face to face and the last part of your hiring process. So they can see your body language and see you face to face.
Yep,
That's
absolutely.
why you didn't follow the application over there and send it in and get hired. You followed one when you reach in front of me so I can know that is Dwight Strachan who's filling out the paper.
Yeah.
You understand? So on hands-on is far more, you get better progress hands-on than you do from across the road.
Yeah. And, maybe they will come. I wish the commissioner would say that, like this is the first part, but they're expected in at some point and blah, blah, blah. I wish he would tell us that. But it definitely
I
would make a
also
difference.
hope so too, because at the end of the day, for me, I'm starting to feel like the reason for the hesitation of inviting them over is, I'm sorry, but, stuff gets missing. We just lose things all the time in the Bahamas, all the time. The only thing we don't lose is our children.
I think some people do. But,
I'm sorry to say it like that, but you get the point.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. All right, let's see if we can get this caller in on the show. Good morning. Are you there?
Yes, I'm right here.
Hi, turn on. Oh, that's your background. Okay. How's it going?
Dwight.
Hi.
Oh, good morning. And just a question.
Morning.
I am wondering what is taking our legal minds so long, and our politicians so long to change the laws to these high-powered rifles? What do they love us and don't love the police, or they don't love the police and love us?
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by
More
that?
than likely going to be confronted with these people.
What do you mean change the laws?
We have to think about the police lives also.
What do you mean by that? Change the laws on it.
Give these fellas some kind of heavy time on, because these weapons are designed for tanks and to shoot through buildings. Most of these high-powered rifles they have. What are the police supposed to do if they're confronted with them?
Okay.
Change the law. At least that's one thing we can do right away.
Okay, thank you very much.
Give these fellas time for these things, man. And the thing about it, we've been talking about, Carlos Reed has been talking about changing the laws now on this for about 5 or 6 years. And nobody even mentioned it after he mentions it. Why are they supposed to be looking after us?
Yeah, I hear you. So stricter penalties on the guns.
Yes, we can start there until we figure out how the guns getting in here. If you want to take 10 years for high-powered rifles, then so be it if you're caught.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. These comments on the text line before we go to the break. This person says, "Hey, Dwight, the U.S. can't even protect a presidential candidate from attempted assassination, and you want them to investigate alleged corruption in the Bahamas?" Come on, texter. Come on. Anyway, And the Secret Service would not be the people doing the investigation if we asked them to help. It would be maybe the FBI or the CIA or something. But I'm sure they do have their hands very busy. A lot going on over there.
Yes.
This person says our problem ain't investigation because we have world-class investigators in the police force. Our problem is punishment to the crimes committed. Are we willing to punish persons? I think it's bigger than that. Often you'll be investigating your boss, or your squad mate, or your relative.
It's cloudy,
right? It's going to be very tricky,
right?
And like maybe you'll say, "Hey, you ain't gonna do it again." I promise, right? So sometimes you're too close to a situation.
Yeah.
Dwight, thank you for challenging Anton. Every other talk show besides you and Naughty, let him run on. Like I said, he's speaking so definitively on this issue. You can't swear for people when corruption's involved. You can't. Yeah. No, unless you're there, you can't. You can't. And it's dangerous. Dangerous. You don't want to be in that place. This person says here, there's a lot of Anton text messages. We love Anton, though. We love Anton. This person says here, Sparky really thinks we're going to bother those rich people. You got to be crazy. That's very sad, and that's why we're here. Because, I'm not saying that is what's going on, but these folks have no issue selling those. Probably that's the intention, sell these to people, right?
Exactly.
Why not? How do they do it in Florida? Can I just pull up in a boat and offload without any government oversight? It would be good to know. I think you can in many places, I'm sure. This is very much off topic. Okay, yeah. I've fallen out of a tree and landed. What now?
Now I'm intrigued.
Crazy message. I can't read this.
Oh, I'll read it after.
I mean, you all are very mean. Anyway, this is kind of funny. I'm sorry, Anton. I'm sorry. I've fallen out of a tree and I landed on a wasp nest. I've had a fingernail ripped from my thumb. I had a toothache that was so bad I had to take 7 to leave, and the pain still won't go away. But I've never experienced a pain quite like listening to Anton on the radio.
Anton has thick skin. He has to do this all day, every day. So.
And this text message as we go to the break. I'm Bahamian and a customs officer. You know what I dislike? We always want to blame someone else when there are issues in the public domain. We need to stop the blame game, in particular the firearms and ammunition smuggling. To a lesser degree, it is the visitors, but it is our own Bahamians. It's our own that does the facilitating and smuggling.
Wow.
Nothing will change until we accept this reality, I believe you.
Wow.
That's rough. I'm sure, there's a little bit, there's always a blame
mix,
to go around.
Sure.
Always a lot of blame to go around. This person says here, as we go to the break, you can clearly see immigration and customs at different points, and you are supposed to fly a different color flag to show if you have cleared or not.
Okay.
But it is an honesty system, so many people come to the dock at home or public, have not cleared immigration, but have their 65-inch TVs and stereos, and then call immigration asking them to come to the boat for clearance. So no duty is paid on many of these items. It also allows for illegal contraband to have easy access. Well, that is not good at all.
For the government was really focused on revenue collection. There is some revenue leakage that's being brought to your attention.
Yeah, that is rough. That is rough stuff. And clearly you can see how lots of things slip through the cracks, and often big things.
Yes.
But hey, we're going to take a break. When we come back after the news, we're going to talk about that IT crash here, what Bahamian companies can learn from that. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
I can't relate to desperation. Might give a fuck or on vacation. And I got this one boy, and he won't stop calling when they act this way. I know I got him. Too bad your ex don't do it for you.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with DeQuesta Dean. And this morning we are talking about that IT meltdown last week. That was Friday and that extended into the weekend. And people all over the world had issues using their credit cards, booking flights, getting on flights, many cancellations. Many people were told, we can't do business with you unless you have cash. And even then, we had to manually enter any information. And so it was chaos, to say the least. And this morning, our guest is going to be talking about, well, at least answering the question, trying to, whether there were lessons learned and what we can do the next time this happens. And again, you know there will be a next time. You know that. We're very pleased to have back with us from Preventative Measures, Gamal Nuri. Good morning, Gamal. Great to have you with us.
Good morning, Dwight. It's great to be here. Good morning, DeQuesta.
Good morning.
And, good morning, Bahamas.
All right.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for being here. All right, so let's just remind folks exactly what happened on Friday, and then we'll get into whether something could be done to prevent chaos for your business in the event that this happens again.
Right. So Dwight, on Friday, first of all, it was not a hack or a breach of sort. I think that was the initial concern and the initial alerts that went out, but it was not a breach or a hack. It was actually a security entity, a cybersecurity, high-end cybersecurity entity, CrowdStrike, and that's the name of the company.
It's a terrible name, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Terrible.
CrowdStrike.
Terrible name for it.
I think it sounds good. It sounded good, but I don't know. Maybe they need to reconsider. Yeah,
right.
But in any event, they were doing an update to the Microsoft platforms, operating platforms that are out there, which incidentally, and this is why the scope is so big, accounts for maybe about 70+% of the operating platforms that most businesses use. That's why it's so wide scale. It didn't impact Mac operating systems, iOS operating systems. So just Microsoft was impacted. And they were attempting to do what they do. They were trying to enhance and improve upon, security vulnerabilities that exist, that are always going on out there, because hackers and cyber criminals are always looking for ways to manipulate and overcome a system. So they were trying to be preemptive in updating a particular software, and unfortunately, that attempt to prevent a crash resulted in a crash. It's like, sometimes people, your attempt to improve upon a system, improve upon a particular infrastructure that you have in place, and something goes wrong and causes the collapse of that infrastructure that really didn't have a perceived problem. So that's in a nutshell what occurred. Is that they were attempting to enhance and improve upon the system to make sure that it stayed robust. and unfortunately the coding mechanism that was put in place had a negative result and caused systems to crash all around the world.
Wow.
And that's where we are now.
Yeah. So this affected quite a few businesses here in the Bahamas, and I know some ATMs weren't working, and places weren't. Some banks with their credit and debit cards, or at least one bank in particular.
Right. And that's the scope of it. Mostly you have these large operating global systems that are impacted because of the interconnectivity that we have in today's world. You use your bank card, you can use that card anywhere in the world, and that's the plus. But because you can use it anywhere in the world, when a major operating system is impacted, then everything that was relying on that network to operate is negatively impacted. So that's what we see happening. So from banks to hospitals to airports, these are some of the main sectors that were impacted by this crash.
Almost every industry. Kamal, in your experience, is this like the first time we have had a situation like this at this massive level? Scale.
Yes. From my experience, this is the first time that we've had something on such a large scale that has impacted the globe. Actually, if we go back to the Millennium Bug preparation, the turnover into 2000, a lot of similar expectations were put out there in regards to how we were going to manage that. Mind you, nothing occurred. It was a seamless transition from 1999 into 2000. But this has been compared to that expectation that was put out there back in 1999, this type of entire global crash. But luckily for us, it didn't happen. But now it happens unexpectedly, without any warning, without any type of forewarning or forecasting. It just happens. And that is the challenge that businesses have to really prep themselves for, because it's not the anticipated incident. If we were impacted by Y2K, many businesses, if major businesses were ready for that, there were some contingencies and continuity plans that were in place because they were ready. But on Friday, it was just a disaster.
All right, so you were saying that this was, yes, we know it was Microsoft, and 70% of companies globally are using their systems there. That's a whole lot. And I guess, although maybe you would disagree, but this could have easily have happened to Apple, to Macs. Is that if they had introduced the wrong bug or program?
Yes. CrowdStrike, for example, CrowdStrike is a major player in enterprise security systems. So CrowdStrike is like I would equate it, for familiarity purposes, if you're familiar with McAfee and Norton antivirus systems that we upload onto our PCs, right? So CrowdStrike is a high-end version of that McAfee and Norton would perhaps use to ensure that their systems don't crash. That's the type of scale that we're looking at. So Microsoft, Mac, all of them use this CrowdStrike. In some instances, businesses insist that if you're going to do business with us, here's one of the compliance and requirements that you're going to need to have a CrowdStrike rolled out into your system. And so the potential that Mac could have, yes, because they use it as well.
Right.
They use it as well. So we would have I think that would have been catastrophic globally because everything would have been down.
All right, so 70% is a lot. Is there any way, I don't know, that people can try to balance this more so that we don't have so many people, 50%, or that you are required to have, if you're using Microsoft, to have a Mac backup or something like that? Is that a possibility?
I'm sure businesses now are considering that, but again, a lot of businesses already have this in place. That's why it wasn't as devastating as it could have been. just like in the Bahamas, for example, right? I gave you a case in point. Many businesses utilize both of the internet providers, the major players, the BTCs and the cable Bahamas. They have both of them in play because if one goes down, the other one is there. So if what you would see in major business, and if you're serious about operating at that level, and of course, obviously, if you have the budget, you would see that they have an interchange of systems that are replicating themselves so that if one drops, the other one can pick up. The problem with that, of course, is if you may be doing that on your end, but your business partner or or another service provider may not be able to afford that on their end. So it's good that internally you may have that success and you may be able to be a bit more resilient, right? But the smaller entity or the entity that has not really appreciated the risk may not have that type of contingency in place. So you're up and running, but you need to connect with another network that's not up and running. So it's still a challenge.
Right.
Still a challenge.
Right.
Yeah.
Before we get into some ways businesses can protect themselves, already people I heard yesterday saying how, well, this is proof that this cashless society that people are trying to encourage, that this is going to be problematic and we need to stop talking like this. What do you say to that? Is this proof that you have, you're going to have to be prepared for everything all the time, anytime?
But shouldn't that be the standard? I mean, in any environment, shouldn't you, as a norm, have a backup plan? I hear that argument coming out, and I smile and I say, but what's the point, or what are people trying to drive at? You should always have a backup. I don't think it's proof that we should stay away. I think it reminds us that we need to have contingencies. And Dwight, when I come on, I'm always harping business continuity. That's a theme song that plays in the background for me, right? And this is just proof of that. That you need to have contingencies in place. But it doesn't say now stay away from technology, stay away from doing business more seamless and at a faster pace. So I don't think it takes away. It just reminds us to have contingencies, that we need to have contingencies.
So I'm going to say something really, really weird. And that's, and even as a former banker, I have never had 100% full confidence in digital platform, right? When traveling, I have family members who would go cashless and rely on those cards, and it could be hit or miss whether they work or not. And so you have this confidence in the product. How do you think, that's not for me because I'm going to have challenge. I'm not going to be able to have a good trip thinking every time I have to use my card, well, this card is going to work or not. So I always carry cash as a backup because you never know what could happen, right?
Where are you all traveling to?
Uh-huh.
Where are you all traveling?
Wherever we going, it don't matter. I'm gonna have a couple $2 in U.S. money or Bahamian money if it's a family island or whatever, just in the event the technology goes down. But Kamal, do you think that confidence in the digital platforms has been impacted as a result of this glitch, whether from a business perspective or a consumer perspective?
Without a doubt. Of course, confidence has been impacted because we see how vulnerable we are to a at this point, because it's still rather fresh from an investigative standpoint, right? But at this point, it seems to have just been a human error or a systems error, not intentional. So definitely because our biggest fear was always the intentional the disruptive effort by some cyber criminal. Now we have something that we don't even know, which makes it worse. Because if I know that there's criminals out there, right, and I can put preventative measures, everybody, I can put preventative measures out there to try and to fight against that criminal. That's good. But now the unknown makes it worse because we don't know where the issue is.
Right.
And then again, of course, in this instance, we don't know if the incident was intentional because it's still new, it's still very fresh. The CrowdStrike executives, the Microsoft teams are all, of course, doing their research and making sure that this was something that was just a glitch, as we would say, and that human error still
because they still don't know what
exactly. The initial reports coming out, and like I said, that's why it's still very new, that it was a software glitch. It was not a security breach. But, I give it another a week, 2 weeks after some really thorough review and investigation to confirm that this is exactly the case.
Yeah. All right. So we got calls coming in, a lot of text messages. We'll get to those in just a bit. I just want to ask you. So again, that we know there some flights were delayed, but at least one bank had a big problem. Their credit cards, debit cards were not working. You couldn't use them. And you had issues checking your online banking, and you definitely couldn't use their ATM. So that is the perfect scenario for chaos there. Is there something that can be done in that situation? You say, okay, cards aren't working, but get cash. But you can't get cash because the ATMs aren't working. And, I guess if it were after 3 or 4 or 5 o'clock, you couldn't go inside the bank.
Right.
What do you do in a situation like that? If you're
should have number one, hopefully you have multiple banks, and hopefully the other one is up. I think, like I said, I think that there are some. It goes back to contingencies, and at minimum, you should be banking with more than one bank, or have more than one access to cash. There are also, of course, the electronic payment systems that are out there that can provide cash, and their systems may be up. So you have to have a plan in place that gives you more than one avenue to get access to whether it's cash or to a payment platform.
You as a consumer.
I was at a conference a few weeks ago, some training in Toronto, and some businesses, they are cashless. So you can have all the cash in the world, but they just don't accept cash. They are fully digital. And so again, depending on where you travel and what environment you're in, some systems, some countries, some cities, some businesses, even here in the Bahamas, they do not accept cash.
Yeah. All right. So that's if you're the consumer. Now, what if you're that company and people are saying, I can't use the cards. You can't use cards here, and you can't get cash. What do you do? And then wait and pray that this will be resolved soon? Or is there something else that you can do if you're the business?
Going back to that's a question regarding the conflict, right? If I was a business, I would ensure that I had a cash mechanism in place to at least, and there was a certain cash threshold. So let's say I'm primarily cashless. I would have a system in place, a contingency that I can operate now. I can receive cash up to X amount of dollars, so that at least not all of my customers are inconvenienced because of my inability to get cash, and I don't lose business. So maybe I have a threshold of I would now work cash for items under $100, okay, as opposed to items $100+. So at that minimum, I would be able to function and service customers who are dealing at that particular threshold. So this goes back to contingency. Do I go totally cashless? No. I have some backup in place to manage cash, get cash, who have cash on them. So at least I'm not disrupting the entire service or product delivery that I have in place.
Well, I know of one particular business, a hotel actually, that had to go to manual credit card, like just take the credit card information so that they can manually process those after guest checkout. But that again is a huge risk, because if they don't have the funds, then what exactly do you do as a business? So that's a major area that needs a contingency, because a lot of tourists rely heavily on their credit cards, and so in a situation like that you have to really look at the risk and see what do you recommend in a situation like that.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, and again, this goes back to having a good appreciation for what your risk exposure is, and I used the point about a threshold. I may accept that card and manual transaction at a threshold of items under $100. So my risk exposure is $100 or less. I would not accept that operating over $100+. And again, it depends on your appetite. So you can revert to that operation, but I would implement a particular threshold based on the service you're operating, the product that you're providing, and what you're prepared to take on as a risk. Because you don't want to take a manual load for, let's say, 5,000, and then you discover that this person did not have it.
Right.
And this is not a new challenge that came out. I'm glad you guys brought this up, because yesterday, for example, the issue over the weekend, rather, what we saw now, what we see happening is that scammers are coming up. This is now prime time for the scammers to come out and say, hey, here's a weakness, here's an opportunity, because people are exposed, and we're now going to try and commit fraud. So there was an increase of phishing emails where persons presented themselves as a solution to the CrowdStrike issue, and we can get you back up and running. And so send us your credentials, give us access to your system, and we can get you back up and running. Presenting themselves as a CrowdStrike partner, and trying to take advantage of the vulnerability.
My goodness.
And this always happens. I anticipated it. It always happens when there's a crisis or a disaster. We saw it happen with Dorian. We saw it happen with COVID. The fraudsters are like, yes, this is now a beautiful time for us to try and get out there and do some things.
Wow. Let's see if we can take this call. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning to all of you.
Hi.
Good morning.
Jamal.
Gamal,
Good
yeah.
morning. In my previous life, I experimented with computer virus programming.
What?
Kudos to the giant black book. And I am wondering, well, of course, I'm sure you know the file that was affected was the config file, which defines the parameters and options and settings, right? And I am wondering why the CEO, because he's in deep trouble now with lawsuits, why did he not tested the update on one or two servers, perhaps offline, or on a private network?
Yes, it's a good question. And there's a lot of now, like I said, that's why I said the investigation is still very fresh, still very new. And what was done, what wasn't done is now coming under a microscope to confirm and ensure that you follow processes and procedures consistent with the industry. So that's why I said earlier that it's very fresh in the investigation. When you listen to the CEO come out and he makes his commentary, expectedly he is it's uncertainty, but we can't say whether that was just the mere pressure of the failure or that there may be something that was deliberate. That was deliberately done. It's still new, it's still fresh, and investigations will definitely determine, independent investigations will definitely determine, what went wrong and what was done right, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Because this particular company had some issues with some Russian friends of mine. But I'm wondering, do you know the name of that config file that they were updating?
No, I can't speak to that. It was being updated. I know that it is the platform, or the Falcon software that's specific, that's their brand, that's a particular product that they have out there. It is Falcon, but the actual details, I can't speak that. And it's interesting you bring up that this group, if we look at their history and their involvement in some other things, and I don't want to start a conspiracy theory, but investigation is still very new. These guys are very entrenched in global politics.
Now you
they're very entrenched in they represent, out of the Fortune 1,000, they are embedded in more than 60% of those companies.
My goodness.
So this is not, like I said, this is not just like a off the shelf product.
Right.
This is a global entrenched entity that is responsible for security.
Wow.
When I
So
see you,
that's a lot.
I'll with you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, caller. Appreciate it. So, and this is very interesting what's happening, Gamal, because Associated Press, U.S. House leaders are calling on CrowdStrike CEO George Kurtz to testify to Congress about the cybersecurity company's role in sparking the widespread tech outage that grounded flights and knocked banks and hospital systems offline and affected services all around the world. CrowdStrike said that a significant number of the millions of computers that crashed on Friday, causing global disruptions, are back in operation. But Republicans who lead the House Homeland Security Committee say they want those answers, and they want them soon.
Yes,
so this is going to get very, very, very serious for them.
That's expected. That was expected. That is expected in any major entity that causes disruption within the United States. They get on it. I mean, this is not we saw it most recently yesterday with the testifying of the head of the Secret Service before Congress. So you see that they get on those types of disruption and national issues very quickly and try to get answers so we can prevent it, because you don't want an entity that has such a global impact and entrenched globally to be vulnerable to whether it's intentional or not. If it's human error, then we need to find ways to close those gaps so that it doesn't happen. Because, like I said, if this had trickled into the Mac arena, we probably wouldn't be online right now globally. I mean, that's just my estimation.
Yeah, wow.
That means total system failure, where we just had a partial system failure in that we have a huge global population that utilizes the Mac platform.
Mm-hmm. Let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Strachan, the aggressor, and Kamal.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I always respect this gentleman as being very sincere, right? But the thing is, right, what I hate, and this is not you, Kamal, or whatever, right? When technocrats and so-called intellectuals try to gaslight the public, right? I'm not even nowhere near being financial expert, but I just use common sense where my knowledge stops. I'm impressed with what the Cressa said as far as carrying cash and cashless. So you try to tell me now, I naive if I have that same idea? Myself, suppose another scenario comes, whether it was intentional or not. I'm dealing with a scenario in which you have a 9/11 cyber attack, so to speak, and then you have a solar grid problem. And so we see where this is a financial impediment, but hats off to Commonwealth, because I spoke with a cashier just now to a business establishment, and she said that some cards work and some didn't, but Commonwealth did. I have a Commonwealth card, so I was glad to hear that. But I always keep cash on hand because I live in cash. A reggae song 30 years ago taught me to live in cash. So, I mean, why is it that we just can't live now symbiotically with cash and cashless? I know the consequences of a totalized cashless paradigm. I don't need nobody to tell me what that is. Give thanks.
Okay. All right.
Well, we have the passion there.
Well, that's what Gamal's been saying.
Yeah.
Have a backup.
Have a backup.
You gotta have
Contingency.
Right, Gamal?
Yeah.
Have a plan.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Have a
All
plan.
right. One more call, then we're going to get to these text messages. Good morning, caller. You're on there.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning, Kamal. I think that what this has shown us is weaknesses in containment controls in a lot of these IT systems that you would not have expected, because bad things are going to happen all the time. But to have a global shutdown shows that they were very interconnected and they didn't have proper containment controls. Can you just talk a little bit about that from a network? Because I think that people take it for granted, the importance of investing in these things. They never need it until something bad happens. And the cost far outweighs, the exploiting if it happens. And secondly, insurance. A lot of people don't like to pay for business insurance. And I feel for this company because I know they're going to be sued. But I would just like to share your thoughts on containment controls and what this event showed. Thank you.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So like any security product, and I'll start there with any security product. A lot of times, because there's not an incident or a disruptive event, it sits there. And so there enters complacency by the user, by the owner, because it's not happening. You hear about it happening. There's this threat of it happening. There's certainly risks of it happening, but it's not happening. It's not happening. So enters complacency. So because of complacency, we fall back on the testing, the drilling, the evaluation, the exercising of that particular security measure, or that which would now transfers into a containment particular process. What we see happening in businesses, and this isn't just this particular incident, it's where because it hasn't happened. When it does happen, right, there is this delay. There's just trying to figure out. There's just a culture of unpreparedness because we have not tested or we haven't evaluated. The world, the globe, is really focusing on hackers as cyber criminals. That's what CrowdStrike was attempting to do. Now you did something. That's still a security issue because it's the disruptive event, but because you have not really drilled and tested your response to that, then time adds up.
Yeah.
Seconds become hours. And so now it's spread because you're still trying to figure out what went wrong because we were looking for something external, not realizing that it was something internal. So that's what we see. That's why containment, and Siobhan is very right. Because the investment, you don't see that immediate return. You're training your IT professionals, and they're getting these courses and certifications, and the system is up and running. Hey, what are we paying these guys for? Why do we need to, let them do another training or let them go to some event that keeps them on the cutting edge? And when there's a want or desire to test and exercise our response, oh no, that's going to be too disruptive to business. We need to make money, but then something happens, and then you're like, well, wow. So I agree totally. The investment in the training, the investment in the infrastructure, the software, the hardware to maintain your systems becomes a never been, or that there's not a direct threat to that particular business.
Wow. This texter says, I know someone who had a return flight on Sunday. They are still not home yet. Flights keep getting canceled.
Wow.
Boy. That's rough. This texter says, what is the backup plan for all these cashless places in Nassau? This is unacceptable. Quite a lot of people asking about that. Should any government entity ever be cashless when the government prints our currency? Well, and what do you say to that? To both those questions?
But like I said earlier, my recommendation is to have a cash management system in the event of situations like this, and put a particular threshold on your operation. So this is nothing to say don't move away from cashless. I'm all for that. I like the idea of being able to go in and tap and all this. I love it. Right? It's very convenient. And if you're doing business online, again, it's very convenient. However, if you're going to a local merchant, they should, my appetite is $10. So if you're buying something and come in and do business, my appetite may be 100, maybe 1,000, depending on where you are. So this is my recommendation. Now, from a legislative standpoint, does the government get involved and demand certain things? I think that becomes very difficult because you're telling people how they should manage their money. You can make recommendations. You could give examples, but to say to that business, because you have an expectation that you need to have this amount. No, the government can't take on that from a legislative standpoint.
Right. And by the way, to this texter who said government entities being cashless, I mean, I can't speak for them, but I think what happens is there are locations that are cashless, but there are other places that will accept cash for the service, right? So it's just that this location doesn't accept cash for a number of reasons often, right? But yeah, you'll have to go somewhere else, drive somewhere else, or catch the bus, to pay there in cash. This texter says here, that was a lot. Okay, they're talking about some an issue with click to clear, and when the food festival went cashless and how it was chaotic. The Bahamas' first software upgrade that resulted in millions of losses. We've been here over and over again. The solution is that the age-old advice to always have a manual procedure and to never put a system that hasn't gone through proper testing into a production environment. You'd be surprised how many major businesses in this country do not follow these two basic rules. Companies are playing Russian roulette with their system upgrades, all based on the whims of some executives' feelings. Wow.
Business continuity.
Or budget. Or budget.
Yeah, business continuity. Have a backup. Have a backup. It's all fine and well to do some things, but what happens if something goes wrong?
And that's the key thing there, Gamal. You have to be prepared for any eventuality. So sitting down and thinking of what those possibilities are and having a strategic plan for them before they happen puts you in a better position to respond. Therefore, you're not being reactive. It's a proactive approach to your continuity.
Yeah. So, we got your final piece of advice to consumers and to businesses, in knowing what we know after Friday and still experiencing in some cases, and knowing that this will very likely happen again at some point.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to folks?
This is an inherent risk in of the society that we live in. Have a backup strategy in place to manage the various risks of your business, and have an expert come in and evaluate and develop strategy. And even if you're not able to implement everything that's there, at least you know what you're up against. So definitely, assess your risk, put in your backups, or at least have them documented as to what the process is, and carry on and do business. Don't let it make you afraid to move forward. And the last thing I would, be aware of the exposure that this incident has caused, and be aware of scammers who are going to now try and take advantage of the exposure. So be aware of that.
Okay. All right. Kamal Nuri, Preventative Measures. Always a pleasure, and we're going to be hearing a lot more from you on the show soon again. But thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me, guys, and enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. We're going to take a break and be back with the final few minutes of Morning Blend Business on this Tuesday morning here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us, folks.
Good judgment, I know I have good taste. It's funny and it's ironic that only I feel that way. I promise them that you're different, and everyone makes mistakes, but just don't. I heard that you're an actor, so act like a stand-up guy. Whatever devil's inside you, don't let him out tonight. I tell them it's just your culture, and everyone rolls their eyes. Yeah, I know. All I'm asking, baby, please, 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 I'm right. Please, 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 don't bring me to tears when I just did my makeup so nice. Heartbreak is one thing.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
51 years of Bahamian pride. A vibrant rhythm. A symphony of resilience. We've grown from bankers to neighbors to friends. Together, we build a future as bright as our sun. I am 242. You are 242. We are 242. Scotiabank is proud to be Bahamian.
Now let me see now. 326 ETIC. Hello. This Epic battery. This Miss Beulah from round the corner. I hear you're selling tires now on Wolf Road too.
Praise the Lord. It's about time. I live Fox Hill, and Fire Trail, it's too far.
That ain't all. They open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Sunday and holiday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
My brother Sam, he's a hacker, and he could go right there and get fixed up.
Call us at 326 EPIC. We ship also to the Family Island.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing service. Further, let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
It's a Scotia Plan Loan Summer. With Scotiabank, you can chase your summer vacation, swing into your home renovation, and slide on back to school with ease. Apply Apply for your Scotia Plan loan and benefit from competitive rates, flexible loan terms, and no payments for up to 2 months. Take off your to-do list this summer and apply for a Scotia Plan loan today.
Deals, deals, and more deals. Bundle and save. Bargains all day as BWF is celebrating its 52nd anniversary in grand style. 1 week of blowout savings up to 50% off July 22nd through July 25th. And a red-hot clearance sale under the big tent outside July 26th through 27th, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Everything must go. Don't miss it. Be there and save, save, save. Savings include appliance combo specials, ductless AC units, barbecue grills, kitchen and outdoor cooking supplies, lawn and garden cooking supplies, automotive supplies and accessories, hardware supplies, generators, compressors and pressure washers, industrial supplies and power tools, household supplies, craft supplies and floral deco, and so much more. BWF, we are more than just our name. Number 13 Wilton Street, telephone 394-0004 or 6. Check us out on Facebook. We ship to the Family Islands.
Calling all young champions, supportive sidekicks, and wise mentors. Are you ready to unleash your back-to-school superpowers? Fly into John Bull Business Center, gear up, and enjoy a super 20% off all school supplies and 10% off on teaching aids. And that's not all. With every purchase now through September 7th, enter to win a $3,000 shopping spree. Zoom in to John Bull Business Center today and gear up like a true super student.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
It is time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. Attorney General Ryan Pinder says that the compendium of recently tabled bills will facilitate opportunities for entrepreneurs interested in entering the cannabis business. Pinder, in his contribution to the cannabis bill and the compendium of bills, says there is a pledge to develop a comprehensive regulatory framework for growing, harvesting, and exporting cannabis so that the industry creates opportunities for many. He said the Cannabis Authority will be a corporation solely managed by a board, and its duties will include ensuring that cannabis is handled efficiently and stored in a safe place, that the cannabis is manufactured, produced, stored, distributed, sold, and made available to patients in a safe and efficient manner, that the licenses are issued for the handling of cannabis in accordance with the provisions of the bill, keeping and maintaining a public register of licenses issued, developing enforcement procedures to ensure compliance with the provisions of the bill, and providing for the electronic tracking of the handling of cannabis. Under the proposed legislation, cannabis will only be legally accessible for medical, scientific, or religious purposes, and there will be several types of licenses. One will be for cultivation, which will allow for the growing and harvesting of cannabis. A second license will be for the retail, which will allow for the sale of cannabis for medical and religious purposes, an analytical testing license for the testing of cannabis, a manufacturing license for the packaging of cannabis and cannabis accessories. There will also be provisions for a research license to allow for research on cannabis, a transport license for the delivery of cannabis within the country, and a religious license for the distribution of cannabis for religious purposes. You can read more about this in today's Guardian Business section. Pinder's also saying that pharmacies and dispensaries are to be operated by persons who are registered and licensed under the Pharmacy Act and Health Professions Act, respectively. Again, more on this in today's Guardian Business section. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Monday, your market movers, AML Foods Limited, moving 13,500 shares, closing at $5.90, down 2 cents. FamGuard moving 3,550, unchanged at $4.96. Consolidated Water up 9 cents, closing at $5.68. Emira Incorporated up 12 cents, closing at $8.49. The BISX All Share Index closing at 2,922.41, up 0.09. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
You don't embarrass me, mother.
Okay, well, let me apologize for that there. That was unexpected.
Oh.
But again, that's, dear Lord.
Yeah,
What was
wow.
that?
That was a shocker.
You can't
Yeah.
just...
We're still
music
speechless.
is today. What is music?
I
My
know.
God, what is happening? What is
I don't
happening?
know.
Again, our apologies. Wow. Anyway, as we go, wow. Delta Airlines, just as we were talking about with the IT meltdown. I can't even go on.
If I was drinking,
dear
I would have
God.
spit.
Dear Lord, help us all. This is the problem in the world today.
It is.
Delta Airlines still struggling for fourth day to recover from that tech outage. So if you got flights on Delta, boy, there's some issues. And so keep that in mind as this is going to linger for a little while. Apologies again to everybody. DeQuesta, thank you for being here this morning.
So happy to be
See
here
you.
too. What a great show.
See you next week. And I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green next.